All right, folks. Well, you know you're in for a treat when you hear that tune because it's time for another week of the Rec Poker Podcast. This is going to be a weird one tonight, people. This is a weird episode. Not only am I traveling, but invisible producer Rob Gardner is also traveling. We're having technical issues already, and we haven't even gotten started. It's going to be a very weird, wacky, and fun show. I hope we get all the way through it. I'm so excited. I've got Kim Kilroy, RECing Crew member and international poker traveler, in the room with me tonight. First, let me start by thanking Running Aces Hotel, Racetrack, and Casino. You can find out more about them at runaces.com, and I'm very grateful to them for their continued sponsorship of the show. I don't even have my prompt sheets in front of me. This crazy train is off the rails already. I'm so glad to be here on Monday night, just like we are every week for the Rec Poker Podcast. You can join us for free at 7:30 Eastern every week and win a prize just for showing up. Mind you, starting on September 15th, you can come and join us at 9 o'clock Eastern. We're going to be sliding a little later in the night. And we have some other cool stuff coming up in September, some changes to the podcast, some changes to the site. And I'm really excited to be sharing all of that with you over the next few weeks. But happy Labor Day and welcome to the Rec Poker Podcast. Let's just dive in. What the hell? Kim Kilroy, you have been a RECing Crew member for years. You have been a poker lover for even longer. You are the one of the poker friends forever in your fantastic poker travel group. And tonight, the conversation is all about poker in Canada. We're going to talk about some of our experiences playing in Canada, some of the good, some of the bad. We're going to talk about a fantastic new poker org division, which is really cool. So Poker Org is a great poker news organization. They've provided a ton of fantastic coverage and fun over the last several years. I've been doing a lot of writing with them, and I'm very excited to be one of the people working on Poker Org Canada, which is going to be this fantastic new venture, really honing in on news, interviews, exciting events, giving away prizes, tips for Canadian poker players, and a lot of cool stuff like that. So without further ado, let's just kind of get into the conversation here. So first of all, Kim, you're no stranger to the RecPoker Podcast. Welcome back. This is fun.
Oh, thanks, Jim. Happy to be here. And funnily enough, I'm home instead of traveling. And here we are with everybody else on the road. But yes. I'm actually home for a little while.
Oh, it must be nice. I feel so discombobulated. I'm doing my own Canadian poker travel. I'm in Montreal for the WSOP circuit event. In fact, as soon as we click stop record on this, I'm going to haul ass across the bridge and get back over there and max late reg the 6 o'clock tournament tonight. So there's nothing but fun.
Oh wow, that'll be fun.
Oh yeah,
I just got back from there. I ran deep in the seniors. I came 12th, so
nice.
Really good run for me. And before that, I was in London, England for the Women's Poker Festival that's put on by Carrie Jane Craigie. And it was absolutely fantastic. It was Jennifer Shahade won, and I want to tell you, I doubled her up on the bubble.
Oh,
I could have taken that woman out, doubled her up on the bubble, so she can thank me for the win.
Exactly. Well, that was very big of you, Kim. That was very generous of you to give her what she needed to get over the finish line there, it sounds like. I think you're basically responsible for her.
Yeah, I think I am.
I think you are too. I want to give a shout out to Benny Godbout. You know him as Benny the Jet. I think I pronounced that correctly. Well, Godbout. Anyway, Benny is a local Montreal guy. So I got a chance to meet up with him in person today and go get a fantastic lunch and a beer. Thank you, sir. Really appreciate that. And I hope all of us get to know Benny a little better over the next little while. Very, very cool guy. And can't wait to see what else he gets up to. So yeah, let's dive right into it. So Kim, you kind of got this reputation as an international poker traveler. You are the one that can, I know, and you're so good at it. You were the one who convinced me to go to Ireland for my first Irish Poker Open. So a million thank yous for that. What a delightful experience that turned out to be, a perennial favorite of mine. What has led to you? Let's go back a little bit. Like, what's led to you having this life where you get to just travel around, play in poker tournaments? You've got a great reputation in the international poker scene. It obviously is something that you really enjoy and get a lot out of. Did you always plan on sort of being this jet-setting traveling celebrity? Was that always part of the plan?
No. I started playing poker when my kids left the house, left the nest. All of them were off with their own lives, and I was no longer a mom, and my veterinary career was winding down, and wanted another focus. So started playing poker and started like just traveling, just playing online in the days when PokerStars was available in Ontario, and won trips to different places and started to travel and found that's what I enjoyed the most. And I'm fortunate enough to have a husband that plays a lot of golf and to go on his golf trips, and I get to go on all the poker trips. So it's a lot of fun, and it works out well for us. And it's just a really nice thing to do in my retirement, or mostly retirement, to travel and play poker.
Yeah.
So I've been playing poker in Canada since 2010, where I played in, I started playing in Niagara. You know,
Yes.
in Niagara used to have the WPT used to come there for the Falls View Classic, and also in the Great Blue Heron, which is just east of Toronto area. They do not have tournaments anymore. And Niagara was always a fun place to go and play with WPT, the WPT crowd. They also don't have that anymore. And the Casino Niagara, which is different than Fallsview, they run 4 tournaments a year, large, big tournaments, $1,000 buy-in, with really good structures. I go and play those, and then they run some weekly tournaments that people can play there. In the Greater Toronto area, I think that's about it. There's Pickering Casino, which has a couple of tournaments, small tournaments. They're kind of turbo-y a week. I haven't visited that too much. I know some people play cash at Toronto, Greater Toronto Casino. It's out near Woodbine, out near the airport.
Is that the Great Canadian one that opened up last year? Yeah.
Yeah, but I hear the rake is really high there. They also have had the WSOP circuit there twice now. Unfortunately, it has been for the last 2 years the same time as Ireland. So
right.
If I have the choice between the two, I'm probably going to go to Ireland.
Yeah, the Irish Poker Open's pretty hard to argue with. It would be tough to stack up against that.
One of my absolute favorite places to go before COVID was Playground Poker. It was just a beautiful poker venue. They have since been taken over with slot machines. So now it is all slot machines, and they do have a floor of poker. And when they have tournaments, they sort of put you out in a tent. So it's not quite the place it used to be, but it's still really well run. Still really well run. WSOP circuit is there now, as you know, and I think it's well managed for what they've got there. But I really wish they hadn't brought those slot machines in.
Yeah, I remember the old days of Playground where you would just walk in and it was one level, and it was basically just like this large airplane hangar sized building with nothing but poker tables in it. That was like a very weird and wonderful space, but it was very poker centric. It's true. There's a lot of slots now, and you can tell. And this is something we're seeing in the poker world generally. Casinos putting in more slot machines, taking out poker tables. You know, slot machines don't require dealers. They don't require having like the right number of players at the table. You can just kind of like put them there and maintain them. And you know, when we've had casino professionals and industry people on the show, it's been a consistent note that the slot machines are very popular. They're very profitable, and so it's hard for poker to stack up against that. But it makes me sad. Yeah, you know, I don't know. One of the things I like about poker is that we're playing against other people. Anytime that you're playing against the house, just feels like, I don't know, you're a little less in control. I know it's all gambling, but I'd encourage people to go and play poker, and I find myself hesitating to encourage people to go and play slots or other real games of chance like table games and roulette and anything else where you're playing against the house that has an edge. So I agree with you. I wish it was just poker.
Yeah, I mean, Ontario especially doesn't really have any poker rooms, like poker mecca, like somewhere that's big that they can go, that has really good tournaments on constantly, and they are starved for it. Ontario is starved for it. You'll find Ontarians going down to Turning Stone every time they have a series in droves, and driving to Cleveland Jack. Like we're just starved for poker in Ontario. And we're now ringed fence. You can speak more to the online than I can, because I don't play much online anymore, but it's a ringed fence. And so we have just our own player pool.
Yeah. And I think there are some pros and cons to that. Like my big scores when I was younger were on PokerStars Online, and it was as part of the global player pool. And like as I'm very fond of telling people, I entered a tournament for $22 that had 14,000 players in it, and I won $35,000 in that tournament when I got first place. And my wife and I used that money to buy a house in Coburg, where we currently live. You can't do that in Ontario anymore, because you're just not going to get the field sizes, the tournament sizes to have that many people in it. But there is a trade-off there, because I think the games are softer because you're only playing against other people from Ontario. It's not like the global player pool where some players are in low cost of living areas, maybe even playing for a living in small stakes that people here couldn't. So I think the games are softer, but the fields are much, much smaller, and your chances of getting into one of those huge tournaments is zero. Unfortunately, you can't do that in the geofenced area.
Yeah, that's what I miss most, I think. Like the fact that we're not playing for the live events in far off wonderful places to go.
Yeah, like Ben Enslow. I wish we could have had Ben on the show tonight, who's out there in Nova Scotia. He gets to play in the global player pool. And as you can see, when he's streaming, he's playing on several different sites in these global player pools, and having a great time doing it. This is a good segue. So I did ask Chad McVean for some thoughts when we decided to do this conversation about poker in Canada. And he said, in short, the rake's too high. And yeah, I mean, Chad, and you kind of mentioned this earlier as well, Kim. And again, we're going to speak about some of the different provinces. We're going to speak about some stuff federally, but just starting in Ontario, this is where you and I both live. And Toronto did get a poker room recently, the Great Canadian Casino. But the rake is really high. In the cash games, it's 10% up to $20. And that's just if you're listening to this from Las Vegas, where it's capped at like $7 or $6 plus a drop or something like that. People would say that a $20 cap on 1-2 or on 1-3 kind of makes the games unbeatable. You're not going to get into a situation where the pots are so big frequently that that rake doesn't just cut away your win rate. So that's one thing that Chad says. And he shares your thoughts. He says, in Ontario, there's not enough tournament options. There's the WPC, there's the World Series of Poker at Woodbine, but he also says he misses the Fallsview World Poker Tour that used to run, and it was run well and had big crowds right there. He says that he thinks there's going to be a North America Poker Tour stop happening sometime in Ontario, which would be great. I love the NAPT, and PokerStars does a fantastic job with their live event. So I'd love to get that in Ontario. And he says maybe 2026 is what he's hearing about that, but he doesn't know for sure. And then he says, outside of Ontario, Playground rocks with multiple big tournament series and consistently great service. And it's true. And Playground's on a bit of a roll, I got to say. They've had the World Poker Tour here this summer. They've had the Moneymaker Tour. This is a World Series of Poker circuit event right now. MSPT is coming up here in October. So they're getting all the big names. They're doing a good job of continuing for it to be this international destination for poker players. I agree with you. I wish there weren't as many slot machines.
Yeah, I know I sort of was down on them for the slot machines and the tents and stuff, but the service is next to none, and the all of the dealers are top notch. They're like really good dealers. So that goes a long way, as you know, for in poker, and they're so good. Like we take it for granted that they're so good. So that when we go somewhere where the dealers are not that good, it hits us a lot harder.
Yeah, big time. And then I was actually talking to someone today. It was my friend Benny, who says that like they have a rigorous dealer training program there as well at Playground. So if you want to get on the staff there, there's like a 4-week intensive full-time training regimen that you have to go through. And I mean, it makes a difference, and like it shows. Also, free food and drink at the tables. I mean, that is a fantastic level of service. And I will say about Playground, they've always treated their players well, and the food is really, really good. It's not just like hot dog sandwiches and a bag of chips or something like that. They've got some world-class food there, which is nice. If you're going to pay some rake, like get some benefit from it. So I really enjoy that. Chad can. Oh yeah, please, yeah.
No, I was just going to mention that the as bad as the rake is in Ontario, in Niagara, Casino Niagara, it is a timed rake.
Yeah,
so it's actually I think a lot better for people.
Yeah. Last time I was there, I think it was $7. Every 3 minutes. Is that right?
Yeah.
And so if folks don't know, instead of charging a rake where you pull money out of every pot, some places will do this timed rake, and basically it's just everyone who's sitting at the table has to pony up $7 every half hour, and that's how they pay for the dealer and the floor space and that kind of stuff. The timed rake is nice because it spreads out that cost amongst all the players. When you are in a raked pot situation, you're taking it out of the pots that are won. So the winners are kind of paying it disproportionately, which is one thing that's true about it. But it also means that you have to be much more selective with which hands you open pre-flop, because hands that are marginally profitable in a chip EV situation are going to be not profitable when you factor in the rake. So it does have sort of a knock-on effect, and I really enjoy having the variety of the time drop in Niagara. And I've been there several times, and it is a nice place there too. Also, excellent service there. Chad continues to say that Alberta has a strong poker scene as well, and that's absolutely true. Like I know Deerfoot in particular has been a home for the WSOP circuit for several times. They do.
That's one of the PFF's favorite places to go. Yeah, we really like Deerfoot. It's really well run. It's a nice room, nice poker venue. So, and just a few slot machines.
The last thing that Chad says is that he hears that Alberta is going to be following the Ontario online model in time, which will be that geo-fenced model. Which again, pros and cons, but I don't love it. And he says, as someone who lives in Niagara Falls, he misses the Seneca poker room across the border and global online poker. Well, yeah. And I think, COVID really took a baseball bat to the knees of a lot of these poker rooms and these casinos where they, I think listen, I have sympathy for all the places that had to struggle through the COVID lockdowns and the pandemic generally. And I think some places just decided to kind of use it as an excuse to not continue with some things that they were sort of on the fence with. And poker rooms, unfortunately, were one of those, I think, for a lot of people. No, so Poker Canada, which is going to be this hub for Canadian poker players, and I think if you go into the YouTube chat right now, you'll be able to find a link to sign up for their newsletter. They're going to be doing a monthly newsletter that's going over everything to do with poker in Canada. I'm excited about it. I'm going to be one of the people writing for Poker Canada. You'll find some of my material in the newsletter. As Poker Canada grows and becomes more of like a network between Canadian poker players, I think it's going to be a fantastic resource. Because I was thinking about you, Kim, when you do all these travels, one of the things that makes it possible for you is you've got this network of other players you're friends with that you can pool accommodation plans. You can plan different dates to travel and like try and get on the same flights and save money by splitting cabs from the airport and stuff like that. And there doesn't like unless you're already plugged into a community or a group like that, there doesn't seem to be a place for Canadians to kind of congregate online and make plans like this. You're sort of stuck bumping into people at the Irish Poker Open and becoming friends, and then maybe 2 years later, you end up making some plans with them or something like that. Outside of the Poker Friends Forever, which I'm just going to say out loud several times, so I think it's the cutest goddamn thing in the world. What like how do you choose where to go and how to plan for these trips, and like do you talk with other people and make plans with other people, or is it more like an insular thing and you kind of know you'll see them when you get there?
Well, fortunately, the women's poker community, global poker community, is quite tight, and it has a lot of groups online that connect women globally. So, including where every tournament's going to be in globally, any tournament that's a women's only tournament, they will give us a list. But that's also a group like Pocket Queens and some of the other groups that I belong to, Global Poker Traveling Women, that sort of thing, that allows me to connect with people. Like I went to England by myself and connected with a person that was a Facebook friend, but I had never really, didn't really know them. And we had a great time. We connected and we shared a room in England, and it was fantastic. So, yeah. So that's how I do it. I'm lucky enough that the women's community is small enough that it's very easy to connect with the similar women and the same women in various places. But if I wasn't going to do that, if I was going to try and connect just in general, I would just sort of put it out there on Facebook or, one of the training sites that I'm on.
I was going to say, like, because like here at RecPoker, like we do, if there's a trip coming up, we'll put something in the forums, and like then people can start responding to that, and then there's some accountability to each other, and people are already kind of vetted a little bit. Like I don't encourage people to go just like post your travel plans on socials and like see if anybody wants to come and share a room with you, because that's a good way to end up in an ice bath with one kidney fewer than you started with. I'm sure there's lots of lovely people out there too, but like I'm not just putting my travel plans out on socials and like hoping that the person that ends up sharing a room with me isn't a psychopath. But like the RecPoker forums have been great for that, and I've planned a lot of trips and saved a lot of money on accommodations and other costs of traveling by doing it with a roommate or with a buddy, or with someone that you already have a relationship with of some kind, some vetting. And so that's one of the things that I'm hoping Poker.org Canada turns into, is really an opportunity for Canadians to kind of band together, interact with each other, connect with each other, and strengthen this Canadian community. Oh, and I will say, if you sign up for that newsletter, it's completely free. The link is in the YouTube chat. If you email hello@poker.org afterwards and tell them you signed up because you heard about it through RecPoker, they will send you a free Poker.org hat, and they're also going to give you a fantastic discount on some premium training here at RecPoker. So we are definitely working hand in glove with Poker.org Canada for this, and I'm very excited to be a part of that. So yeah, jump in.
Well, no, I was going to say, like, I love to travel internationally. I used to travel a lot to the US. I don't travel as much to the US anymore. And one of the reasons is because of the 30% withholding tax. There's nowhere else in the world that we pay a withholding tax. It's poker winnings are tax-free in Canada. So I've just cut. There's certainly political reasons combined with that have just tipped me over the edge to just visit the States a lot less than I used to. Even though they have the most wonderful tournaments, like they have all the best tournaments. So it's I don't like that fact, but and I still will go there from time to time, but certainly not as much as I have done in the past. What
and I think
your thoughts on that?
no, I mean I've been pretty transparent about the fact that I feel like there's been a galvanizing effect with what's happening in the States that's helped Canadians band together, that has helped us kind of realize that we're not just always entitled to have this friendly relationship with our southern neighbor, and they're the big brother, like they're the ones that they're the muscle in this relationship. And it's been really interesting over the course of this year, seeing how there's some anti-Canadian rhetoric ramping up down there. There's the dumbest trade war in the history of mankind going on right now between our two countries. Like there's a tension and a friction that's never been there before. Well, since 1814, when we marched down there and burned the White House to the ground, along with most of Washington, as part of the War of 1812. I don't know if they teach that in the American schools, but we do comment on that up here from time to time. But like all joking aside, it's a terrible situation. I love going down and visiting the States, and I've got so many friends that are down there, and like you say, the WSOP in Vegas, the WPT in December, like the Run Good, like there's just a lot of great American poker available to people who are willing to travel to America. And I don't think I'm speaking just for myself when I say a lot of Canadians are deciding that it's not worth the risk. That's part of it. Like, I don't want to be scooped off the street because I'm not an American citizen and sent to some gulag in a third world country that I have no connection to, because it's like, but it's happening. And like, I don't want to get pulled out of the car at the border and by a bunch of guys with guns. It's happened to me before. It's not a friendly experience. I don't enjoy it. And yeah, I don't want my Canadian tourist dollars enriching a regime that's like talking about making us the 51st state and a bunch of crap like that. Like that doesn't leave a good taste in my mouth. I'm very up. I don't know. I'm very confused. I don't like it at all. We're living in this weird world. What did you get me started on, Kim?
I'm sorry. I don't have the same fear about being dragged off into a gulag, but
that's the voice of someone who's never been in a gulag before, right there. I'll tell you.
That could possibly be so. But yeah, it just feels not as friendly to travel to the US now. My friends are great. My American friends, I love them to death, and they're apologizing constantly. But yeah, I'm that combined with the 30% is sort of why I'm steering clear for now, and looking forward to more international travel. So
yeah.
If there's anyone out there that wants to go traveling, let me know.
Nice. That's right.
I'm always looking for travel partners. So
Pet Vet on Twitter and Pet Vet 33 or Furry 56 in the home game, if memory serves. Lots of ways to get in touch with Kim here at RecPoker. But honestly, I had the same reaction, Kim, and it's made earlier this year. I decided I'm just not going to be traveling to the States as much for poker. I don't have the budget to. I'm not a semi-retired veterinarian with a golfing husband. I don't have the budget to go traveling around the world as much as I'd like to. But a lot more Canadian poker for me, definitely, between the rooms in Ontario, getting here to Playground in Montreal more frequently. I'd love to get out to Calgary and check out the scene there, because I've heard it's fantastic. One of my hopes for Poker Org Canada is actually to help some Canadians get to know what is available in Canada a little better, because I feel like I'm pretty plugged into the poker scene and I'm a pretty proud Canadian. But when I think about Canadian poker, I really think about like the Toronto underground scene, the illegal private games in Toronto that most of us, grew up on playing because there wasn't a legitimate poker room in town. Playground in Montreal, Deerfoot and the scene in Calgary, and then some of those sort of GTA adjacent rooms. But I feel like I know an embarrassingly little about poker on the West Coast. Poker on the prairies outside of Calgary. I lived in Halifax for a while, so I know the Nova Scotia casino and poker on the East Coast. But I feel like there's a lot of mystery. There's a lot of unknown about poker in Canada for Canadians, which is crazy.
Yeah, there's Pure Casino or Pure in Edmonton. I played a couple of events there. They were pretty well run, and I think something in Calgary too. And I know that BC has a couple of, or used to have a couple of rooms anyway. And like I said, someone I met in England was telling me about Regina, and they have a good poker room in Regina. So with a couple of tournament series, but there's a huge untapped market up here. And I think if anybody that got sort of a poker room going or wanted to run big events in Canada, the draw is huge. The draw for Americans is huge. Come up here and you don't get taxed. I mean, it's like, it's free money. It's like, so why is there not more? That's what I want to know. Why is there not more? Maybe it's our laws. I can't say that I'm up on gambling law here. We certainly in Ontario can't give away the free drinks and food that they can give in Quebec at Playground Poker. We're just not allowed to. So, I mean, maybe that's some of it, but I certainly think there's a huge untapped market. That's.
Mm-hmm. And actually, let's take a little break talking about taxes and free money. Let's give away some prizes here on the show.
All right.
And then we'll come back and we'll talk about more of kind of like the overview of Canadian poker and some other cool stuff like that. So if you're a premium member at RecPoker, and I want to remind you, and if you're not, why not? All you need to do to become a premium member is just support your local food bank. Give a donation of $1 to a food bank in your own community and send us a copy of the receipt, and we'll happily send you your first month of premium membership for free as a way of saying just thanks for being a good person and helping out other people in the world that need a little help. Once you're a premium member, you get entered into these raffles where we get to give away some coaching prizes. So every month we're giving away, one of our members is going to get a 1-hour coaching session with Matt Affleck. And one of our members is going to get a 1-hour coaching session from Mark Zhang, two phenomenal professional coaching players who are both RECing Crew members here and have decided to share their expertise with our members. So all you need to do is be one of our premium members and attend some of our events throughout the month. That gets your name added into our Wheel of Fortune that Rob Washam puts together every month. And then we get a chance to give away an hour of each. So invisible producer Rob Gardner, why don't you pull up the Wheel of Fame and Fortune, and let's see who is going. The first draw we'll do is for an hour of coaching with Matt Affleck as part of our premium membership program. And then the second spin will be for an hour with Mark Zhang. I'll let Rob take a moment to get that up on the screen here.
Yeah, we're having technical difficulties. I need about another 30 seconds.
Technical difficulties. Yes. This is the week for technical difficulties. Yeah. Oh my God. Everything.
Give me 1 second. It brought the wheel up and it was blank, even though I hadn't.
Okay, no problem.
Having won one of those.
Oh yeah.
I was lucky enough to win a coaching session with Matt Affleck. It's like all you have to do is come to the premium events, and it was great. I really enjoyed it. So got
all right, Jim. So I'm going to be able to spin the wheel, but unfortunately, it is not letting me show the wheel. I have no idea why.
Okay, that's fine. Well, I take your word. I believe you, Rob Gardner.
I will text you a screenshot. Just. We're spinning the wheel. It's going fast.
We're spinning the wheel off.
Colorful.
Spin it off
and
camera.
The winner is Rich Deakins.
Oh, Rich Deakins, fantastic! A regular in Rob Washam's book study. So I'll just make a note here that we're to reach out to Rich and let him know he has won an hour of coaching with Matt Affleck. That is fantastic. All right, why don't you spin it again, Robin? Let's see who's going to win an hour with Mark Zhang. I've gotten coaching from both these guys, and I will say I'll second Kim's point that it is phenomenal value. I mean, it's phenomenal value. It's free for you guys if you win it. But these guys know how to really pull your game apart and make some fantastic insights about some low-hanging fruit in your own game. And I think, again, all you got to do is be a RecPoker Premium member, which you can get for $1 by helping your local food bank. And then just attend some sessions, attend some of our learning sessions, and get entered into the raffle here. All right, Rob, I see you've texted me an image. So we have full transparency here, full accountability.
Our second winner is DFS Brat.
Hey, all right. Awesome. So Scott, DFS Brat, you are in for a treat. We'll reach out to set that up. Scott was supposed to be here tonight because we were going to be interviewing a couple of Canadian players. We couldn't put it all together at the last minute. But if you're interested in hearing more about DFS Brat, you can check out his stream on Wednesdays. It's in our newsletter every week. And he will be joining us on the show for September 29th, where we'll be having another conversation about poker communities and how to find your crew and how to sort of get the most out of the leveraging your relationship with other people in the poker world, because Lord knows we need all the help we can get. And working with other people who are passionate and excited about the game is a great way to help yourself take that next step. All right, I'll make sure to reach out to those guys and let them know about their fantastic prize. So Kim, we were talking a bit about taxes, and I'll tell folks if you're interested. I'm writing a few articles about the overview of poker in Canada, some of the legalities, some of the tax laws, some of the do's and don'ts. Those will all be available at Poker.org over the next little while as they're unrolling some of these features among the rest of their content that's going to be very geared towards Canadian players and what Canadian players are looking for. But yeah, any gambling wins up here. Lottery winnings, 50-50 draws, casino winnings, poker winnings, they're considered windfall, not revenue. And so they're not taxed as revenue. You could choose to file as a professional gambler in Canada, a professional poker player. And if you do, then your winnings would be taxed, but you would be able to write off all your expenses, your losses, the full 100% of your losses, by the way, and other travel expenses and other things like that, coaching, whatever else went into your costs as a professional. So I'm not sure if some people do that or not. I think it really depends on what their win-loss ratio is for the year, probably in some cases.
That includes part of your home expenses too, because your office is your home.
Right.
So.
Yeah, great point. And it's something that I think, I don't know, you've played in a lot of different places. I had a deep run in the WSOP main last year where they withheld a significant portion of my winnings. And I still haven't gotten it back. I've filed through the IRS for that tax year. I've shown my losses for that year. I've jumped through all the hoops that they've asked me to jump through. And I'll just be fully transparent with the audience here. I had several people backing me. I sold a bunch of action for that one because I wasn't even going to play it. I wasn't even going to play the main event, but I woke up one morning in Vegas and just put out on Twitter, hey, if I can sell half my action, I'll play the main event this year. And I ended up selling almost 70% of it. And of course, that was the biggest score of my life. So I get to share that 70% of that with all my friends. But I feel like I'm responsible for all these people who I've paid them out, most of their winnings, but the IRS is still holding on to a significant portion. And
you're not the only one.
They're in spaces. No, I'm sure. It's really frustrating.
One of the PFFs has been trying to get back from 2023. And
really?
And gets a letter every 6 months that say we're reviewing your information for another 3 months, and that's it.
That's what I got. I got another one of those just last week.
Yeah. Well, We don't think they're paying out Canadians.
I mean, that is so down low and dirty and despicable, but like I believe it. Like I believe that Canadians aren't at the top of the priority list for the American IRS right now, and I know they're cutting a bunch of people at the IRS too. So I'm sure it's not coming out of the department that gives rebates to all the billionaires. Those guys are well staffed. Trust me, they're not having any problems with it at all. But yeah, so I don't know. And listen, you mentioned earlier, Kim, like reasons for Canadians to come up, and Chad mentioned this as well too. By being in Niagara, the few times that I've been to Niagara, most of the players at the table were American. They were crossing the border from New York, who were coming up to play. And it's not just because of the tax implications, because yes, if you win $1 million in Canada, you get to keep all million of it. But also the exchange rate, right? To come up here as an American is relatively inexpensive. The dollar goes very far. You can get more out of your vacation by vacationing in Canada. And then if it's a poker vacation and you get to make a bunch of money doing it, you get to keep all the money. So that is a pretty persuasive argument. I'll put that pitch out there. We're here talking about how we're traveling to the States less as Canadians. But at the same time, like we love Americans. It's just this weird political situation in the States right now. But individual Americans, get up here, come make some friends. Let's have a fun time together. Like I said, we've got so many great friends that happen to be Americans, but the American administration is no friend to Canadians right now, and I'd be lying if I said it wasn't causing some tension and friction, which is a real shame. Shame.
Put in the YouTube chat for anybody that's interested. Xuan Lu did her Cross Canada challenge, and that may give some more info on different poker rooms in Canada. She played poker in every province. So she probably has more insight than we do into all of the poker venues in legal and illegal pay, maybe.
Right, that's right. Yes. I remember when that happened. She took a month about a year and a half ago or almost 2 years ago and played in every province and territory, live or online. She had a small bankroll, a small travel budget, and pulled it off. It was very, very cool. Very cool to see her on that mission, and that was really, really interesting. So what other? I mean, it's interesting when you and I talk about it, Kim, and even when we were talking to Chad offline earlier, it's like we talk about Playground and we talk about Calgary. Like Montreal and Calgary are the places with like good poker scenes, good poker rooms. Toronto's got a bunch of people. It's got this underground scene, which is fantastic. But like, there's pros and cons to private games, underground games. The security isn't as great as licensed places. The game integrity might not have the same kind of stringent protocols in place. I mean, the rake is high, but apparently in Ontario, the rake is high pretty much anywhere you go. So that's not much of a delineator. You said that you're planning to sort of travel more internationally this year. What are some of the destinations that are already your favorites, and what are some of the destinations that you're thinking of adding to the repertoire?
Anything in Great Britain would be. It's only 6 to 7 hours flight, and that would be something that I'd be interested in. I'm probably going to go to the Win in September. In December.
Oh, yeah.
World Championships. I used to go to the PCA every year. However, it's the buy-ins are much too expensive now. It's really geared towards the professional players and the high rollers for recreationals, and not really, I don't think it's geared for the everyday folk and the everyday poker player anymore, even though it was one of the greatest, the most fun stops, because you get the best of the beach too. I'm also
Right.
going to be looking into the Caribbean poker series and maybe some of the Latin America series. And because I'm going to Hong Kong for a month and a half, I'm going to be looking at some poker out there. If there's any little side trips I can go and play while I'm there as well. So
Cool.
we'll see what comes of it all. I may end up just defaulting and run out of my international money and have to keep driving to Turning Stone and Cleveland, Ohio for my
Right.
poker. But
Yep.
and Baltimore, like you and I, we could go to Maryland Live, like that we did a road trip down there. And that was fun. So we'll see. We'll see.
Gibber 222 in the YouTube chat says Ireland. Yeah, that's right. Jim Gibson. He caught the bug this year, and it won't be the first time I've said it. But yeah, if you have a chance, get out there for the Irish Poker Open every spring. It's always the 2 weeks leading up to Easter, so it's easy to plan for it. And boy, that is just the best player experience I've ever had anywhere. And I see we've got some new folks in the YouTube chat. Raincoats, welcome. I think I stumbled across your account on Twitter in the last week or two. So welcome to the RecPoker family, Raincoats. Folks, if you want to start typing the words food bank into the YouTube chat, we're going to wrap up the show shortly, and we will be giving away a fantastic prize to one of our audience members here. All you have to do is type food bank into the YouTube chat, and what that does is it lets me say the words food bank a bunch of times. And I'll just encourage you to pull out your smartphone right now and just Google food banks near me. You'll find a fantastic organization in your own area that can really benefit from a few dollars out of your pocket, a few volunteer hours out of your week, or some non-perishable food items from your pantry. And it's a great way to make the world a better place, is to just put some food in the bellies of some hungry people. And there's a lot of people that are going hungry these days. Some folks that you might not expect. You might be surprised at some of the people in your own neighborhood or community who could really benefit from some help. And so type the words food bank into the YouTube chat. That'll enter you into a raffle, which we'll pull a winner from shortly, and you will win a fantastic poker training prize at some point real soon.
I have to give a shout out to Yvonne Montalegre because her Malta Poker Festival and Costa Rica Poker Festival that is sub of that are really, really fun events and really affordable buy-ins, like just sort of really geared towards the recreational player. So those ones are also on my list. So whether I get to go to all these, we'll see. 2025?
Right.
2026. Maybe 2026 for all of them.
Yeah, well, I'm fingers crossed for you, Kim. It's an ambitious schedule, but you've sort of provided this model for a lot of RecPoker members for like what we want our lives to be like, just like jet setting around with our friends and going to all these exotic destinations and playing poker and crushing it out there too. Like it's very impressive, very impressive. Personally, my goals are to explore more of Canada. I want to learn more about these mysterious areas. I've never done a lot of Canadian travel. I used to go to school in Halifax. I always used to have friends in Montreal and go and visit and have fun in Montreal. So I feel like I know Quebec pretty well. I know Nova Scotia and New Brunswick pretty well. I know Ontario pretty well, but I've never really spent time west of Ontario in the prairies and on the west coast. And I've kind of done an embarrassing little amount of travel on the East Coast as well, outside of Nova Scotia. There's so many wonderful places in Canada I'd like to go spend more time in, and I'm going to use poker as the excuse that lets me do it. I think this winter will be my first trip to Calgary, which is crazy to think about, but Canada has so much to offer. I really want to go and explore more of it for myself. We can talk a little bit. I'll just give some folks, if you're listening and you're interested in the overview for some of the last remaining items about the Canadian poker scene. There'll be more of this stuff coming out in detail in the Poker.org articles and features that myself and Mike Patrick and some other fantastic folks over at Poker.org there will be writing over the next few weeks. So do head over to poker.org and check out their fantastic coverage. We've got some very ambitious plans for what this poker org, the Canada scene, is going to turn into. So I can't wait to see that develop, and it'll just be all the more sweeter to have a lot of RecPoker folks in on the ground floor to help build that and show them what a real community is all about. These RecPoker people, they know how to stick together and how to stick up for each other and how to make our community a better place. So I'm looking forward to that. When it comes to online play, you kind of tapped on it at the beginning there. For a long time, anywhere in Canada, you could play in a regulated, global market, just like anywhere else. At some point over the last several years, the province of Ontario, decided to pass some laws that made it very clearly legal and very, above board, but only if it was contained within the province of Ontario. So it meant that you could offer poker to Ontario players, but only if they were able to play with other players from Ontario. And so there's been this geo fence that you refer to that keeps the field small and soft, but small. And so for like large field MTT players, Ontario has become a less attractive destination for that. In all the rest of the provinces and territories, it's the same situation it's always been. You can play on PokerStars International. You can play in all the different global player pools. And again, because you're playing in Canada, your winnings are not taxed. So it's a fantastic situation. I see these comments on Twitter now about like Club WPT Gold winners getting 1099 tax forms or stuff like that if they're cashing out too much. Joe Coolis in a previous week's episode said that he had gotten a tax form or something about trying to make a withdrawal from an online site. And like, man, the people that are playing poker online are not doing it because they enjoy tax compliance. Like, give me a break. This is going to be a big problem for some people.
Yeah, I just want to mention that like a lot of my American friends play on Global Poker. Right. And I have played Global Poker. I really enjoyed the site. They have shut down in Canada. They're shutting down their Canadian operations. I took my money off. I had no problem getting it off. It was very simple. Yeah. So, but I'm sorry to see them go. I'm not sure why they're leaving Canada. They're not just leaving Ontario. They're leaving all of Canada. Mm-hmm. So that was another thing I wanted to mention, that we're losing that too as Canadians. We're not even getting poker.
I think that's part of a bigger movement. I think it's not just global. There's a few like GG, a couple other sites. They have this like gold coins versus sweep coins kind of like sleight of hand, where you're not really buying real money chips from them. You're buying these fake chips, like the sweepstakes model that you've seen in a lot of different states. And
like WPT, Club WPT does that. They still operate. Yes. They still operate everywhere. It's only Ontario that doesn't have it.
I've heard that it's kind of going the way of the dodo, though. I think there's a movement. Like I think some of them have exited some of the states. Like I know Nevada lost a couple of them, and I think and David Lappin wrote a really interesting piece a couple months ago about like the next Black Friday coming. And I think there's really something to that, because we've created this situation where there's a lot of these sites that are kind of running in this sleight of hand sweepstakes model, which is, technically legal, but everyone who looks at it knows that it's a way of kind of getting around the rules. And it's only a matter of time till someone comes and closes those loopholes. And it wouldn't surprise me if that entire model of poker gamesmanship ended up being made illegal and shut down.
So Jim, apologies. I'm trying to find the article, but I read an article last week. The Canada pullout was actually because of a sale. Some of the partners sold their equity in the company. And for whatever reason, that either disqualified them or forced them out of that market. So it actually wasn't tied to the Switchcoin thing.
Okay.
I'll see if I can find the article before the end of the podcast just to maybe put a bow on that. But you're not wrong about what you're saying. I think all of that is a precedent, but it was interesting that it actually had nothing to do with the sweep coins.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate that. And if we do get a copy of the link to that article, I'll make sure to include it in the show notes so people can check that out. And I'll try and find the David Lappin one as well, because I thought that was
Yeah,
really insightful.
Hubie40 in YouTube chat says Global Poker shut down in New Jersey as well.
Right.
So,
and New Jersey is one of the ones that has their own geofenced poker, isn't that right? Along with like Pennsylvania and my American geography isn't. No,
we don't learn anything about America. We don't know anything about the 45th parallel. Like, it's just a big open.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, so I mean, it's an uncertain future. It's an uncertain future for online poker, not just in Canada, but in North America. But at the moment, like we say, and Chad McDean seems to think that Alberta is going the way of Ontario. I mean, the good thing is that it's legal, that it's a regulated offering that's available here, that you can play with game security. You can make sure that you're playing against other humans and not just bots and fake accounts and multi-users and that kind of stuff. Of course, there's going to be an element of that with any type of online play, but it does feel like Canada is at least taking the right approach to making sure that the Canadian players are getting a legitimate product. And again, I just like the notion of getting taxed on your gambling winnings is such a weird thing for the states to be doing. I always sort of like didn't appreciate it in the abstract, but now that I'm kind of fighting the IRS for this money back from my main event, it's like, what the hell, guys? Land of the free, I thought. Good Lord. All right, why don't we, is there anything else that we should go over here? Kim, is there any kind of other insights about the Canadian poker scene that are interesting?
No, just we need more of it. We need more poker.
Yeah.
You could see from the turnout at the Great, what's it called again? Great Canadian Gaming.
Great Canadian. Yeah, where they did
for a really poorly run festival.
True.
But it was just like a madhouse, like people scrambling to play. People just want to play.
Yeah. Yeah. We're hungry for it. Canadians love poker. And I said this the other day as well. It's like, for 7 months out of the year, it's so cold you can die just from being outside. Guess what? We're hanging out indoors. We're playing board games. We're playing card games. We're playing games with our friends. This is why I think like we've got so many members from Minnesota, because that's where RecPoker started. But I think a lot of those northern states have a lot in common with the Canadian players, because winters are cold. You gotta love games. You gotta be inside, huddled around the fire, working on the stuff and getting better at. That's why I think Minnesotans and Canadians are so well represented in the winners circles and in leaderboards and stuff around the world, because like we play this a lot.
There's one place we didn't mention, that Caesars Windsor.
Oh yeah, right, yeah.
I know that they have tournaments every week, every Friday and Sunday, I think. Small tournaments, and they also run closer to WSOP time. They run some satellites for the WSOP in Vegas.
Nice. So. And I've heard good things about the room there. That's another one of those on my list to expand. I might get out there in October. A couple of friends out there made a nice invitation to me to come hang out. So I might.
It's a very small room, but it's nice. Nice, yeah. well lit, and yeah.
That's awesome. All right. Well, I guess I'll just give our listeners one more pitch. We're going to do the food bank draw in just 1 second. You've got a couple seconds to type food bank in one more time. Then invisible producer Rob is going to spin the invisible wheel. We'll just take his word on who the winner is this week.
So true.
I trust Rob Gardner when it comes to this kind of stuff. He's got a heart of gold. I don't think he's going to lead anybody astray over a free month of membership at one of our fantastic learning partners. But yeah, get that in there. And I'll just say again, folks, do sign up for that Poker.org Canada newsletter. The link is in the chat. I'll make sure to include it in the show notes as well. And then just send an email to hello@poker.org saying I signed up and I want my free hat. I want my free Poker.org hat. And that'll also get you the opportunity to sign up for premium membership at RecPoker for only $1. It's one of the best deals that we do all year round. And I'm happy to have it be part of this fantastic new offering by RecPoker.org. All right, invisible producer Rob Gardner. We got a few YouTube folks in there. I was going to say, let's see who's going to win the prize, but let's hear from you. Who's going to win the prize this week?
It is K Poker Wannabe.
Oh, Ron.
Wannabe. Ron is back. K Poker Wannabe. Actually, I don't need to write this one down because Ron sent an email, please, to info@rec.poker, where RecPoker's Santa Claus, Rob Washam, will make sure to award you your fantastic prize. And folks, if you're new, the way this works is if you're not already a RecPoker Premium member, you win a free month of premium membership here at RecPoker, which is usually $22, but it's yours for free just by participating in our raffle here tonight. And of course, you can always get your first month of premium for only $5 by using the code podcast at checkout. But you can also just donate $1 to your local food bank and send us the receipt, and we'll happily get you set up with your first month of premium membership. But if you're already a premium member and you win our food bank drawing, then you get to choose a free month at one of our fantastic learning partners. I'm going to do this on the air without the list in front of me because I'm an idiot and I always screw it up. But Red Chip, Learn Pro Poker, pokercoaching.com, Solve for Why, although their stuff is free now. Pokercoaching, I already said pokercoaching.com.
Jacka
Simplify Poker, Jacka Coaching. Did I say LPP? The Poker Forge. There's a bunch of them. Listen, folks, people love working with RecPoker members because they know we're the lifeblood of the game, and they know that we bring an enthusiasm and a fun into this. So that's why all these great training sites share their premium material with our members, which we're just lucky. We're the luckiest little folks in the world to be able to take them up on that. So thanks to all our learning partners. Thanks to everyone here in the YouTube chat. I think we're going to wrap this up. Thanks to Kim Kilroy, invisible producer Rob Gardner, all the other RECing Crew members, all our premium members, and okay, Rob's in there doing the Lord's work. All right, thanks everybody. Well, thank you, Running Aces Hotel, Racetrack, and Casino. We'll see you next week on the RecPoker Podcast tonight. Oh God.